Welcome to Memorable Marketing by Media Group. Today we are interviewing Natalie Ng. She is our head of PPC and she runs a team of PPC experts around the world. What is PPC? Why is it important? By the way, PPC stands for pay per click. Why is that important? Why should you consider that in your advertising and marketing campaign for your company? Stay tuned to find out about that. It's a very interesting talk about how different it is all around the world.
We shouldn't only rely on automation and AI.
Welcome to Memorable Marketing by Media Group. Today we got a special guest on. We got Natalie Ng, who is running our PPC department. She's based in Hong Kong, and she's going to talk to us about PPC. Natalie, what is PPC? Explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
So PPC stands for pay-per-click. It's actually a way of buying a visit to your site. It's like the most common buying model to across the search engine marketing. It allows advertisers to buy a placement, on the search result page. So when people search for relevant keywords, they can click those ads and drive traffic to your website.
Okay, and so PPC, you buy that through Google or Facebook or any of these sites who offer a search capability. Is that correct?
Most of the cases apply to the search engine like Google, Bing, but not Facebook.
Natalie, how long have you been with Media Group?
So I've been here for almost 3 years. I was from a marketing background. I study marketing degree and master in UK. And after that, I worked in different marketing agency in London and also Hong Kong. And luckily, 3 years ago, I joined Media Group in the summer.
Okay. And when you started, what was your position when you started?
I started as a PPC specialist.
Yeah.
And then I was covered for the PPC manager during her maternity leave and start building my own team because the company is growing. And currently I'm the head of PPC, leading a team of 7 globally. So I would say not only the company expand a lot, but also personally, I grow a lot here.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. So you have 7 people you manage. Are they? You said they're globally. So some of them in Hong Kong. Where are the rest of the people you manage?
So most of the staff are based in Hong Kong. We have some mainland Chinese people in the office, and also there are a Polish colleague, a Ukrainian colleague, and also a Czech colleague in the European office. Currently, we are also having a part-time and some freelancer across the world because we are supporting different languages and different clients globally. So we are actually corporate globally.
Okay. So why do we have different people who have different languages? Is that because clients need to run campaigns in different languages in different countries?
Exactly. So for PPC, because we are more like a contextual driven marketing channels, so we really need to understand the local perspective and behavior, and that the best practice will be done by the local people that understand the buying model and the behavior.
Okay, so if I am a client, I run a big brand of something, and I want to go into multiple different markets with different languages. Could be Europe. We have French, we have German, we have, of course, English. We've got Italian, we've got Portuguese and Spanish, and a multitude of other languages. And of course, if you want to get into the Chinese market, we have different employees who can promote in all these different languages, which is important, of course, for keywords because they're different in different languages.
Exactly.
So some of the clients that you are handling at the moment, how many countries are they running PPC campaigns in?
Well, interesting question. I would say more than 40 because
40.
We are managing clients. Yeah, actually, I would say across all the provinces and countries like APAC, we're running in China, Japan, Korea, Singapore, Australia. And if we go to the West, we are promoting in Middle East, and also some of the Arabic countries such as like Iran, Ukraine, Qatar, and
Oh.
then Europe, of course. So it's like I would say like it's like really global scope we are managing right now.
Wow. And each market is different because it has different languages and there's, of course, different competition for different keywords in each market. How do you define the keywords in each language? Because they don't always translate one to one, but you have to have that local knowledge to understand what that means in that local language.
Yeah, so actually, I would say an interesting insight here is that we use like English as like the benchmarks when we do the keyword research. But of course, we will work closely with the local expertise and specialists to understand like different searching behavior. For example, in Asia, we actually witness a shorter term because people like they really rely on the mobile and they love to use the voice search that have different such queries that will also affect the keyword selections in the campaign. But in the Western countries, maybe they will love to compare the products before they make the transactions. So the searching behavior may be a little bit different and the searching period may be longer. So all these keyword selections and how we're going to form an ad copies really require lots of research, not only based on not only based on the local, but also at their competitors as well.
So when you have a client who has 40 different, who is operating and you're running a PPC campaign in 40 different countries, when you compare each country by each other, are some higher and some lower, or is it consistent across all countries, or does each country have its own unique PPC results?
Definitely quite different. That's not only because of different countries or culture, and it's also about different channels. So let's say in China, we are having like more than 4 search engines like Baidu, 360, Sogou, and Shama, which is like a mobile search engine. And each of them has different formats, different regulations, and even different and even different like behavior based on how people use that channels. So some of the channels I would say is more for brand awareness, while some is more for conversion driven. So we would actually need to analyze and understand which channels can cater most the needs of the clients. Then we come up with a plan and see how the budget allocates across different countries and channels.
If I came to you and I wanted to operate in 30 different countries, how much research do you do before you launch a campaign? When I work with you, how much research time do we do before we roll out all these different countries? Or do we do one at a time? What's your normal recommendation?
So I would say it really depends on the scale and the objective, but it is like a complex procedure to do it. So usually it contains like 3 to 4 steps. So first, we really need to understand the main product or service you're delivering and the objective, whether it's brand awareness, it is about to drive traffic only or to urge people to take several conversions into a website. And then we also look into your landing page, whether that is user-friendly or is a PPC-friendly. So some clients actually ask, what is the difference? I think my website is SEO-friendly, but I don't know whether it's PPC-friendly. So the answer here is that PPC-friendly landing page tend to have less exit point. So they want people just land to your website, let's say have a content form on the right side and then leave their contacts and that's it. They don't want them to, spend too much time browsing around your entire website. And then after the landing page, maybe we also look into the industrial level, like more macro level, understand what your competitors are doing. Because when people search for your brand name, you of course don't want your competitors' ads override your ads, right? So we need to understand their behavior, what time they are bidding, how much budget, etc. And of course, in terms of the if you are promoting across like 30 countries, then that research need much more time. And also there's people searching for cross devices. We also need to take into considerations. And finally, after we do all such research, we need to come up a comprehensive list of keyword selections. So this is where the strategy lies for. So that keyword selection need to be fulfilling three criteria. It should be like relevancy. So of course, when people search something on Google, they're looking for solution. They're not like clicking your ad because of, wow, this looks really cool. They want to find a solution to their problems. So that should be relevant to what your business is offering. And second, that needs to be holistic. So it should cover different pain points. The keywords should have different variations and synonyms, so you can easily catch more people. And finally, it should be expensive. So I would say a good PPC campaign really lies on continuous optimization. So that really so the structure of the keywords really need to be expandable by time to time when you're starting like optimizing. So as I mentioned, it's really difficult to say how long it takes because as you see, it is like a big project. But of course, we have lots of resources. We use different tools to make the work around smarter and smoother. So yeah, it is. It's like as mentioned, it takes quite a lot of initial setup.
If you look back 3 years, you started 3 years ago as a PPC specialist, and when you were living in London, you were studying marketing. How has PPC changed over the last couple of years, according to you?
Well, I would say really a lot. So first is about how people search. People are tending to use like their mobile to do different searching behavior, but also across different devices. So people may, let's say they want to buy like bed sheets, they will search in the computer, and then maybe during lunchtime, they were just trying to browse to different e-commerce store. Search for terms like where should I buy the best bed sheets, and finally when they go back home, they may look into the tablets. When they're like listening or watching YouTube, they may just maybe I saw this green color or stylish bed sheets looks pretty nice. They would just search it on their tablet. So this cross devices searching behavior change how we're going to align our strategy, how we're going to modify the keywords and also add copy across different devices.
Awesome. That's good. And where do you see PPC going? You're talking a lot about different platforms and different markets and different countries and different channels. I mean, where is PPC going? Is it going to get more and more complicated? Is the word I want to use? Is it going to keep being more and more diversified? You were talking about search, what people search with their voices instead of text.
Yeah, so I would say another hit is about the AI in PPC market. So the system is really smart. They collect a lot of data based on your behavior, based on your habits, based on your browsing history, how long do you spend in a website. So they know which ad copies has high tendency for you to click, for each individual to click or to land. And even like they know how much you should, like as for the advertiser to pay for certain ad placement. So it's become more and more smart when we as an advertiser to bid or to set our budget. But on the other hand, I will also say that we shouldn't only rely on automation and AI, because let's say the AI may suggest that ad copy A has high tendency for me to click. But from the human side, we also believe that we would like some emotional touch, and sometimes certain ad copy, we may want that ad copy to bring more human relations or build long-term loyalty instead of like instant actions, right? So I would say even AI is growing more and more. We should also have human expertise to understand the behavior and write the ad copies to bring the profit to the business.
Since you went to university and you went to marketing, more and more people are coming online, and many people are coming online through mobile phones. They might not have a tablet, they might not have a desktop, they might not have a laptop. Their connection with the world is through a mobile. Has that changed over the years? How has that changed in terms of traffic? How big is mobile now compared to the other platforms?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I would say like 3 or 4 years ago, especially in APAC, which is a little bit behind the Western countries in terms of the PPC campaigns. So there was around 40% of people using mobile search. Well, in Europe or in Western countries, they're already like 60 to 70% of mobile search. And during this year, because of the reliance of mobile in China especially, I would say the mobile search increased up to 80%. And have you been to China before, Thomas?
I've not been to China. I've been to Hong Kong many times, but I've not been to China.
Yeah, so an interesting phenomenon, if you've been China, you will see that everyone is actually using mobile payment. Like they don't accept cash anymore. So if you want to check out in a restaurant and you don't have a mobile, then you may need to call your friend to help because they only accept electronic. This also explains the populations of how popular of like mobile devices and how reliant mobile is into their daily life. So this also kind of affects how people search. And as earlier mentioned, there's more and more people use the voice search recently. So what it affects PPC is that we'll see more and more conversational search queries instead of like a proper text when people search. It also affects how we're going to pick the keywords and how we're going to select the most valuable keywords to drive certain actions to the business.
Interesting. No, I've not been to China. I would love to go, but it's just when I fly from Australia to Europe, I go through either Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai, or one of those. And I haven't flown through China yet. It's just one of these days I will do it. So yes, I like to see it.
Yeah, and you should have like a mobile device or even have extra one just to back up,
Yes, because it's a different system, obviously. Yeah, but personally, I do pay with my phone all the time now because I've got Apple Pay on my phone and my bags, all the cards are connected to Apple Pay. So I rarely bring my wallet. I only bring my wallet now because of my driver's license. And finally, soon we'll have driver's license being electronic on our phones as well. And then there's no need to carry a wallet anymore. So I guess that's the way we're going.
So one of my favorite clients is a Danish cobalt arm manufacturer. So it is like the world #1 cobalt arm in terms of the sales volumes. And obviously it's like a B2B business. We start managing their PPC campaign in 2018, like 2 or 3 years ago. Initially, we only help them with the headquarter campaigns, promoting traffic to their website, so people can leave their content, become an MQL. And what we have done once we took over, we help them to build a structure that contain good amounts of keyword selections, strong call to actions, ad copies based on their marketing funnel. So interestingly is that the headquarter, they are quite understanding what they want and their objective. So they kind of structure a marketing funnel based on different customers' journey and intent. So starting from top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. And we launch different campaigns targeting different funnels. For example, on the top of funnel, we are driving people with a soft call to action approach, targeting broader keywords terms. So when people search for, let's say, automations in my factory, which they don't understand what's cobots, they can download a free ebook or white paper to understand how robot arm works and what is the benefits from that product. And then further down to the bottom of funnel, we start like nurturing the leads and maybe land the ads to Ask an Expert to provide more customized support from their sales team. So we kind of stick with that funnel and also align with our PPC structures. And eventually, I would say once we have that good structure built and has that run with constant optimizations and adjustment in the system, we help to drive like 300% increase in their leads and also 40% drop of cost per leads year over year. So it's quite remarkable, and the clients witness this success. They actually increase their budget and ask us to help with different local office campaigns. So right now the scale double and we have a lot of campaign running. It's quite satisfying.
That's very impressive. So 300% increase in leads, and you drop the price per lead 40%. That is very interesting, and that's a very, very good results. And they're spending more and more because they're realizing it's actually working. So good on you and well done, Natalie.
Thank you. There's also another interesting client I will also mention as a luxury watch retailer based in US. So a really tricky, or I would say a challenging part here is that we are not promoting for their boutique or their official flagship, but we are promoting the authorized local retailer. So they're having more than 100 local retailer across US and Canada, but some of the stores are really close to each other, and we aim to drive online to offline traffic for them. So first, we need to have precise targeting, have a sparse bit across different retailer. Let's say there may be 20 stores in New York, and we need to, based on the zip code and also based on the location, geographic location to speed, the fair allocations. And then we need to make sure the ads always override the counterfeits, because there are lots of, because it's like a luxury brand, there are lots of like unauthorized retailer. We need to override our ads. Turn out we use really precise location targeting, and also we constantly change our ad copy to catch the audience eyes. We then successfully bring good amounts of online to offline traffic, and we help them to drop the CPC cost per click down by, I would say, 20%, and the click-through rate per actually increased by like 10%. So we've been working with the clients for more than like 6 years, I would say, and they're quite happy. And it's also a good learning from both sides to understand how we can cooperate with a massive vendors or even the local retailers.
Good. That's very impressive. That's very good. 20% less cost per lead and 10% increase in click-through rate. Other companies would commit many different things to get to 10% increase in click-through rate. So that's a pretty impressive. Well done. Do you have other examples? Yeah. Do you have some other examples, Natalie?
Yeah, actually, I also have an example, which is also a B2B client. So that is, again, a Danish manufacturer that specialized lift table. So lift table is used, like scaling up some heavy goods or products. Usually it's like for, manufacturing or hospitality uses. So they have been running some PPC campaign earlier, but the structure is not well developed. So once we took over, we helped them to restructure the entire campaign, starting by researching different keywords. And also, since it has like a big scope of markets, we are promoting across more than 20 countries in Europe. We also need to work with different local specialists who understand the B2B behavior, and also closely with the clients and sales team. Then we again align different marketing funnel and write different ad copies. We even suggest what can be done or changed on their landing page. For example, maybe the call to action button can be more sharp, or there can be like a direct point to the WhatsApp contacts, so people can reach for instant help. So by doing a lot of advice on the landing page, on the keyword selections, on the ad copies, eventually we help them to increase like 300% of leads, and also have cut the CPL down to 60%. So it's really, really remarkable, I would say, and the client is really happy. What we've been doing is also we launched some shopping campaign, which is quite new to B2B, because obviously it's more common across the retailer or B2C clients when we launch shopping campaign. But we find the result is quite good. CPL is actually better than a search campaign because it's less competitive, and not a lot of competitors are using this format. So I would say it's also another good learning to other B2B clients.
Wow, that's very impressive. How do you stay ahead? What makes you stay ahead and learn new things all the time, Natalie, within your business? How do you manage to do that?
Okay, so actually we are a certified Google and Microsoft partner. It means that the platforms we have like a dedicated representative from the channels that assist us and also regularly let us know the updates or even ask us to whitelist for their beta products. So with this close relationship, we are able to step a little bit forward compared to other advertiser or competitors. Meanwhile, we also attend different forum and also different webinar hosted by different I would say associations. So with all this like industrial updates, we're also able to keep posts about what's going on and suggest the best products or solutions to our clients.
That's awesome. Yes. If I'm a client, should I choose PPC over SEO, or should I try and have both? What's your take from the head of PPC?
Yes, this is a really good question because I've been asked for actually a lot of clients. I would say both. The reason is like undoubtedly SEO is one of the good sources and reliable sources that provide long-term and stable traffic to your website, and it's free. But the time may be a little bit longer. However, for PPC, it's actually a good support because it provides a relatively short term of results. Once you have your precise selections of keywords and you know what your business is offering to write your unique selling point on your ad copies, you can already start driving traffic to your website. So the time in terms of the setup and result tend to be shorter compared to SEO. Plus, some people may also ask, my organic result is already good enough. Why should I also need to pay Google certain amounts to rank higher? So the reason is pay placement always on the top above organic. Even you're ranking your first on your organic results, there's still certain placement like 4 to 5 on the top. And you don't want your competitors ad results ranking above your organic or even paid research. Another interesting research from Google found that if you don't have your ads showing on the top, even your organic is showing, there's like 60% of traffic loss because you don't have your paid traffic. So to avoid such a loss, and actually when you don't want to miss any cost relevancy when people search for really cost terms related to your business, I really strongly recommend to have both PPC and SEO running together. And they both have a good synergy. PPC keywords can also provide good insight to SEO team, let the team know what keywords are good for content creations on their landing page for their on-site optimizations. While SEO can also make sure like PPC can supplement some missing part or missing terms when people search on the results page. So that's my recommendation.
Thank you. You mentioned earlier competitors. You don't want, so let's say I'm only doing SEO, but I'm getting all this organic traffic. It's coming in. It took a while to set it up, but it's dribbling in. You mentioned and a competitor could go in and buy your keywords through PPC and thereby steal your traffic. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
So the entire PPC is like the auction basis. It's based on like the quality score. It means like what the relevancy between your keywords and your and your landing page, plus the maximum bids that you're willing to pay for certain keywords. So there's no strict regulations on system, of course, except some industry where you can select or bid on any keywords. Your competitors, they have their freedom to bid on your brand keywords. And if they pay higher bids on those terms, the ads has certain percent is likely to override your own ad copies. And that will steal certain traffic that actually belong to you because people are searching for your brand.
Yes, so people are competing on your brand. Competitors are buying your brand keyword, and you have to compete against that. Otherwise, they're taking over. They're not taking over your brand, but they might take over some of that traffic directed towards your brand if people click on the ad as opposed to click on the one for the actual brand.
Yes. And in terms of this, I would actually like to share an interesting format that's only available in China, I would say. We call like brand song. quite concerning. Let's say my competitor ads override my ad. So there's like a format that you can dominate like a certain percentage on the first result page, like I would say 60 or 70% coverage of the result page. So your ads will be much more outstanding, and multimedia, it contains a lot of informations and details, even like pictures or banners. So that can actually secure your brand search and positions when your competitors or when people are searching for your terms.
Oh, wow. Interesting. That's I didn't know about that. That's quite interesting, actually. So what's your advice to companies out there who have been on the fence before about using PPC or getting started? What's your advice to them?
I would strongly advise once you, let's say you have a nice structure being set up, don't just leave it alone and let it run, because it always requires regular optimization, A/B testing. For example, if there's like new features that your competitors already opt in, of course, you don't want to lag behind. You need to keep post the market update. You need to test whether landing page A or product page or homepage works better. And be careful to look into the search terms, because that is what actually people search for. It also gives us some insights of their searching behavior based on the context, the length, or even the relevancy of their keywords. Sometimes, interestingly to know that we found some weird search term. So we, for example, as I mentioned, there's like a client selling like cobalt arms, but there are lots of robot toys that is actually different markets and it's not their target audience. We need to make sure we exclude such terms. We don't want to pay amounts for such keywords, right? So regular optimization, testing, experiment is really important.
Because everything changes all the time, because one thing is what you do, but another thing is what your competitors do. And then there is the updates from the search engines and the various channels who keep updating and changes their regulation. So everything is constantly changing and everything is constant volatile. And what worked last year most likely will not work next year. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. The market changed rapidly, I would say, especially the formats. And there are several regulations up there as well, like the iOS 14. There are lots of things that you need to get posts and keep posts. So it's always good to be proactive than responsive, right?
So your recommendation is A, get started, and B, be competitive. That's what you got to be to stay in the marketplace.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's good.
So I would actually say there are several benefits to run PPC. So first, it provides really fast results, because after you have the structure set up, you can already start driving traffic to your website and urging people to make conversions on your website. And then also you have more control compared to SEO, because you can write your own text on your ad copy. It doesn't ask the system to crawl the data from your website, but instead you can highlight what you want to tell your audience. So you can just cut to the point and ask them to click or do some actions. In terms of the control, you can also have precise targetings based on geographic, even down to on the granular level, down to zip code or miles, radius. Or even when we, for example, launch some webinar campaign, not webinar, like expo campaign, we can target like 10 or 5 miles area to that venue. So cover the hotel. We try to drive offline to online traffic to your landing page. And also we can exclude some terms that you don't want to show your ad when people search, such as different target audience, like robot toys versus cobalt arms is totally different. Or and also it can do some retargeting as well. So when people land to your website and you see they don't make any conversions or actions, you can write another attractive text to ask them to come to your website again. So there's like a functions on the platform that you can customize. Let's say if that audience visit your website in last 30 days, you give like 5% of discount. But if it's like a new audience that haven't been to your website, you offer like a slightly low percentage. So you show different message to your to different audience and try to reattach with their personal needs and their stage across the marketing funnel.
What's the biggest aha moment for you in PPC?
I would say whenever when I find some really interesting app format, such as like the brand zone in Naver and Baidu, that can actually dominate the entire search result page. It also indicates that there are totally different searching behavior and browsing behavior across countries and cultures. So when I understand like which is like best for different local user, I will have this, wow, it works. Such feeling, and it is quite satisfying actually.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Natalie. If you want Natalie to work for you, if you want Natalie to run your PPC campaign, stay tuned to the end, how you can contact me and we can help you with your PPC campaign across the world. Natalie, it's been an absolute pleasure having you aboard here. Thank you for joining us on Memorable Marketing, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Thank you, Thomas. You too.